And then she wind down the windscreen and poured water on the face of the young man. She opened her door and continued pouring water on his face. This is how it started. This is the story of a young man who was going for a job interview. He was praying to God that he gets the job. While he was going, he was trying to dress up himself. And then he sees a car and looks at the mirror of the car and tries to adjust his clothes to make sure he's looking okay for the job. And then the woman inside winds down and started pouring water on his face for looking at her windscreen to adjust himself. She comes down from her car and asks him what is wrong with him and continues pouring the water on the face of the young man. She was pouring this water on his face for using her car windscreen to adjust his clothes. And then the young man asks and picks up his files. Why are you pouring water on my body? And then she says, wait, are you going for a job interview? Who is going to employ you looking like this, looking poor and hungry? Who is going to give you a job looking like this? You are very poor and hungry, and nobody's ever going to employ you or give you any job looking this way. The young man feels bad and then leaves the woman because he was focused on his job interview. She gets back into her car while he's still talking down on the young man. Finally, the young man gets to his destination. This happens to be a survey job interview where the young man has gotten to the location, and then a car drives also to the same location. Coincidentally, it is this same woman who had poured water on the body and face of this young man. She tries to adjust her clothes to make sure she's looking very okay for this job interview. So then she gets down from the car while the young man is sitting praying to God that he gets this particular job. She comes down from her car, carries her laptop, adjusts herself and starts walking towards the location the interviewer asked them to meet. And then she's surprised that she sees this same young man sitting on the floor, and she starts mocking him and laughing at him that you happen to be the same person who wants to compete for this job with me. You are never going to get this job. But the young man says no words to her and keeps his cool. She keeps mocking him, and then not too long, the survey and the feed interviewer comes around and sees the two young men we had contacted for this survey job. He greets the both of them and tells them that the job is quite simple, that all they have to do is to survey this land and give him an estimate of the size, breadth and length of this land. That he's going to come back in a few moments, that they should survey the whole land and give him the estimate, and that's the simple job interview. That whoever gets it correctly gets the job. And then the young man quickly sits and gets to work while the young woman is trying to mock him, thinking that he would never get this job. How is he going to calculate with his pen and paper? She opens her laptop and then suddenly realizes that the laptop is switched off and down. She presses the laptop and begins scratching her head, realizing that she did not come with the laptop charger and there was no way she was going to work. She begins to think of a solution, but there was none because a laptop charger was not there with her. The young man continues surveying the land and taking his estimates, making his calculation and writing down his figures for the land while she's still contemplating on how to get. She tries to contemplate whether to ask the young man, but she said no to herself. The young man continues his job, doing what he knows how to do best. He keeps calculating, making his estimates and figures while she's scratching her head, not knowing what to do since her laptop was down and she could not work or make any estimates. The young man continues, not paying attention to the young lady because he was not here for her. He was here to get the job done. He stands up, takes a closer look, a better look at the entire area of land that the interviewer told them to survey, and then he sits down and continues taking his estimates. He looks at her because she isn't doing anything, but he's not concerned about her or about getting the job done. Finally takes his estimate and keeps his result down while she's still contemplating and scratching her head what to do. Not too long after an hour, the interviewer is back and they both greet him and he asks, where is your estimate? I hope you have completed estimating this area of land. She begins to explain, but then the boy hands over his own estimates to the interviewer and she begins to explain that her laptop was down and she did not come with the charger, so she could not work. and asks the man to give them a second chance. The man says, "You have only this chance to get this estimate and this interview done." And then he says that is not his concern and it is not his fault that she did not come with a charger for her laptop, that she would have provided a plan B since she was coming for a serious interview. And then he tells her to hold for a second and begins to look at the estimate of the young man and looks at the feed, and he knows the estimate already, and he was surprised that the young man got the job. He shakes the young man and the young man is happy that he has gotten this job. He says, "You did a very good job estimating this land and you are very smart and fit for this job." He shakes the young man, and this is how the young man got the job for this land. Please, if you enjoyed watching this video, tell us where you are watching from so that we can send you a big hug. Please share this video. We love you and God bless you.